You can hire a performance marketer in Dubai for 8,000 dirhams a month. Sounds like a steal, doesn't it? Someone loyal to you, sitting in your office, working only on your ad accounts. You have full control, and it feels a lot better than an agency. By the end of this video, you'll realize why that 8,000 is the biggest mistake that happens with a lot of companies. Now, I'm not theorizing all of this. I've sat in these offices where business owners, brokerages, they sit down, they look at the ad accounts, and they realize where their money was actually going. So let's dive right into it. First, let me be fair to the decision, because it's not a stupid one. Every week on LinkedIn, I see the same thing. Real estate, brokerages, B2B businesses hiring performance marketers. The cheapest ones start at 8,000 dirhams a month. They average between 8 to 15, and the bigger names, they give you 25,000 dirhams a month. Now, I know why this is happening, what the instinct is. These people have probably been burned by the agencies in the past. They got dashboards full of leads that never convert, and they felt like they were wasting more as compared to being productive. They got sold volume, but nothing converted, nothing translated into a sale. So they decided to put a pause, hire a person in-house. Let's have full control over it, full visibility. I know each and everything that is happening with my ad accounts, what exactly is going wrong, I can make the changes. That's what you're probably thinking. On paper, that reasoning is good. Control, focus, everything at one place. You feel more in power when you're running your performance campaigns, and you're confident that the results are going to be a lot better. But here's the problem. Each one of these assumptions break down once you put it into practice. Let me break them down for you one by one. Starting with the biggest one. You think you're hiring a marketer? You're not. You're hiring a single point of failure. One person, one set of assumptions, one opinion, no second set of eyes to look at what they've done. By the time you realize it, you've already spent 50,000 dirhams on something that never resulted in anything. When that person makes a bad call, there's no one to keep track of it. So they let it run, and it keeps damaging you and your ad account. And here's the part nobody talks about. They're learning on your money. Every mistake they make, every creative that flops, every targeting decision that went wrong, that's them learning how to run ads for that particular industry. They're 8,000 for a reason. That's the entry-level position for a performance marketer. So everything that you've done, all the budget that you've put in, you've basically paid their tuition. Now, I'm not against performance marketers, and there are a lot of cases where they've actually done a lot good as compared to bad. But let's look at the bigger picture. In most of the cases, the owner, the manager, the sales manager, they probably don't know how things work in performance. That's not their forte. As an owner, your job is to run the business, to set up policies, to hire the right people. As a sales manager, your job is to close. Now, you can open up ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever and look at what works and what doesn't, but that doesn't make you a performance marketer. There's just a lot happening under the hood for you to take care of. And one person having complete control over your ad account with no second set of eyes looking at them is precisely why they go wrong. Then comes the time when they leave. And they will leave. All the logins, all the optimizations, everything that worked, every creative that functioned, all of that lives inside their head. And now, as soon as they leave, it's with another brokerage, another company down the street. So you've paid extensively for tuition and you have nothing to show for it. Compare that to an agency. An agency is a group of people working together that has already made all of those mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. That's how you learn. There are a lot of things that you assume but turn out to be very different when you put them into practice. The agency has already done that. A good agency probably has. They've made those mistakes on someone else's ad account with someone else's money. So you're not paying them to learn. You're paying them because they have already learned those lessons and now they can implement the best practices for your business from the very beginning. Now let's do the thing that nobody does when they're hiring. The 8,000 resource, and which is the starting price of the resource, is just that, is the initial cost. On top of it, add up the tools that they need, the creative support that they need, the landing pages that they need, their visa, the round trip to their hometown, medical insurance, and a lot of stuff that comes along with hiring an internal resource. And yes, again, remember, this is an entry-level resource. And they're at that bracket because they have a lot to learn. So the 8,000 hire is essentially a 15,000 hire. And the average, which is from 8 to 15, becomes a 20,000 plus hire. For a 25,000 resource, this number goes very high. And on top of that, they get sick, if they quit, if they aren't able to come in, everything is lost. Your business stops suddenly. Your campaigns stop functioning. Yes, campaigns don't just go bad in one day, but that's the human side of things. Compare that to an agency where you have a dedicated team of people working together. If there's someone missing, someone else comes in, they have a system in place. They know exactly where to pick up where the previous person left. Doesn't matter if it's your account manager, doesn't matter if it's the performance marketer who was working in the agency, because it's the system that's there in an agency that helps it pick up where the previous person left off. And there are no gaps in between. Now, I know you might be thinking, okay, but there are a lot of delays when you work with an agency. Depends on what you're paying them. If you're willing to pay 8,000 to an internal resource, but you want an agency for only 2,000 dirhams, how can you expect an agency that gets 2,000 dirhams to give you 2 million in revenue? You just can't. The good names, the better names, and how better agencies do it is they have the infrastructure in place, they have the resources in place, and the 8K becomes affordable as an agency retainer because that one resource or those set of resources are working for multiple clients at the same time. And that's actually good for you because they bring in a pool of experience from multiple ad accounts or multiple businesses, multiple industries. Plug that into one, compare that to someone who's just sitting internally, only looking at your industry, only looking at your ad account, they add more value. And 8,000 dirhams is for mid-sized agencies. The bigger ones, they charge you 25 or maybe higher. Some even work on commissions based on your media spend. But they only do that if your media spend is substantial. Because in the end, everyone is here to make money. No agency, no good agency would want to work for very less where they don't make anything. Because if they don't make anything, they won't be really working towards improving your ad account, your campaigns. You would be just another client in the roster. Now I'm going to show you the part that people often overlook. See, a bad in-house hire does not fail loudly. They fail productively. What happens is they're running campaigns, the results are coming in, leads are there, leads are growing, the CPL looks great, and you keep on funding it. But once you look under the hood, you see a very different story altogether. Let me give you an example of something that I personally walked into. A real estate brokerage had an in-house hire who had spent roughly more than $500,000 across Meta, across Google. That person was spending any and everywhere around the world just to get those leads in. So cheap leads were coming in. These leads were as low as 5 dirhams or 10 dirhams or 15 dirhams a lead for real estate, for off-plan, for properties that are worth 1.2 or 1.5 million. But if you look at it closely, you'll realize these are the people who would never buy real estate at all. So that person was only increasing the numbers because he was under constant pressure from the management. We need more leads. And everyone was happy because everyone felt productive. There were just a lot of leads to work with. So the blame came down to the sales team, the salespeople. You're not following up. You're not getting results. But if you look at the real story, it was painfully bad. 5% qualification ratio, 0 conversions, $500,000 spent. That's the worst that could happen to anyone. So to avoid that, it's better to have an agency on board. Someone who can look at things from a holistic perspective. And here's the worst part, which makes it even more expensive than the amount that you spent and in terms of the ad, in terms of the resource and everything else, is that bad data has already entered your ad account. So now the algorithm thinks that, okay, this is the type of leads that you're looking for. And it keeps on getting you more of those, regardless of whatever you do. Change the creative, change the targeting, do whatever you want. That bad data, if it's in there, it takes a bit to clean it up. So that's where an in-house resource goes wrong. Volume was never the problem. The quality was. And to build that quality, you need people who actually understand how things work, how to bring in quality leads, not just another hire. Now, if you're still leaning towards hiring an in-house resource, I'm sure you have some objections. And let me clarify the top 3 ones, because if I don't, then I'm just another agency guy with an agenda. Objection 1, the in-house resource can be cost-effective in the longer run. Yes, but there are conditions to it. The first being, is performance marketing something that you can actually handle and manage in-house? Is it a skill set that you have or a manager has so that they can sweep in and look at what's happening? If they don't, well, you're at the mercy of the person that you hire. If you can't tell a good media buyer from a bad one, the cost savings vanish almost immediately, because as soon as they go off the rails and you start wasting budget, there would be no one to look at it. There would be no one to understand, because the lead volume is still going to be there. The lead quality, on the other hand, will keep on deteriorating, and that will cost you more in the longer run. Objection 2. An agency won't care about my business like an in-house resource. My own employee, they'll take ownership. But flip it for a second. The agency has its reputation, its case studies. Whatever it's getting from you, the results that they're generating from you, that's what the next client is looking for. And it's only when they produce results that they get more clients. So agencies are completely invested in your results. And of course, you have contracts in place. You have conditions where you can let someone go, let an agency go on a short term. For an in-house resource, things are different. You have to give them their due time. They're on your visa. There's cancellation. There's a lot of other stuff that happens in terms of HR. So you need to keep everything in check. Objection 3, and this is the real one. I've been burned by agencies before. Now, I'm not going to sit down and defend all the agencies that have done bad by you, because they promised you volume, they gave you dashboards full of leads, but nothing converted. So yeah, that does happen. But if you hire the right agency, if you do your due diligence, if you look at their track record, if you look at how they work, how technical they are, how well they understand how everything works, if you look at their case studies, you'll have a much better idea about what they can do. So this is a real concern. And that's a risk I'm sure a lot of you are thinking about. But look at the risk at the other side. The in-house resource that you cannot fire for at least 6 months. You have to take care of their visa, their labor contracts, and a lot of other things. On the other hand, there's an agency. Now, no matter what the agency, there's usually a standard clause of letting the agency go in a 1-month notice. So at worst, you're spending 1 month's retainer. That's it. So the risk is there, but it can be managed. So here's where I land. Go in-house if your core business is marketing. If marketing is the core engine that drives your company forward, build it, grow it, build a team around it, own it, and let it focus on creating better results for you. But if you're a brokerage, or if you're an IT company or a consultancy, then your core business is not advertising, it's not marketing. You wouldn't do handyman jobs at home. You'd hire a plumber. You'd hire someone who has an expertise. So why not do the same thing in marketing? If you need results, you need to get the right people in. One in-house resource versus an agency that has multiple people, bank of case studies, data points, best practices available across industries, not just one. Could be just focused to you, that's also great. But could be people who have experience across multiple industries. You get access to multiple minds and multiple set of eyes looking at your business, looking at your ad account, everyone working together. So it becomes sort of like an extension of your company. It becomes your marketing arm, your advertising arm, and a core engine that keeps on bringing new business for you. If you hand everything over to one underpaid resource, be it 8, 10, 15, 20, 25, because I know the higher you pay the resource, the more you'll expect out of them, they'll still need a team. No one person can do everything at the same time. Everyone has their own core set of expertise, their knowledge base, and they work from there. So if you don't give them that team, if you don't give them those resources, which again is a cost on its own, then one person can only do so much.